Dear Diary, making the decision to immigrate to Calgary felt like I was placing an Amazon order for freedom, endless possibilities, social security, and a beautiful world of seamlessly integrated multiculturalism. Only instead of autofilling my credit card information, clicking buy now, and receiving my package the next day, I spent months filling out paperwork and acquiring various documentations. And I spent years waiting for my visa. And when my metaphorical package finally did arrive, it wasn't exactly what I ordered.
We're Onya and Tomi, and on Diary of a Naija Immigrant, we're talking about what happens after you buy that one-way ticket. We'll chat with guests and hear their immigration stories. We'll commiserate, celebrate wins, and gossip about recent microaggressions. Buckle up, y'all. Okay, hello. Welcome to Diary of a Naija Immigrant.
Woohoo!
Wow, exciting.
Yes. Okay. Who do we have here today? Only why don't you tell us who's joining us today?
Okay, I feel like it'll be better from the horse's mouth, but from the little I know, our guest is someone who's passionate about. I feel like I say this every time, but that's what this place is for. It's for highlighting people who are passionate about our community and people who want to promote things about us and highlight the beauty in our culture, in our heritage, and everything that concerns Nigerians, Black people, Africans in general. So the person we have today with us is someone who just fell on our laps. She's just like, yay! She's just like, yeah, I love this and I want to talk about, and we're so excited to have you with us. Her name is Daniella.
Yay!
Welcome, Daniella.
Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, how are you feeling today? How are you doing?
I'm good. You know, it started off as a busy day, but I've been really looking forward to talking with you guys. But yeah, I'm Daniella Jasper. I'm the founder of Brdge. It's basically a web online platform for users and locals to find ethnic food. We primarily focus on ethnic food. You're not going to see Cactus Club on there or Moxie's or anything like that. It's primarily people who make ethnic food. So right now we have like Nigerian, Jamaican, Filipino, Korean, Ukrainian, Greek, and we're getting so many more. Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Okay, so we're talking like a skip the dishes, a DoorDash, but specifically for like this type of cuisine.
Yeah, and you know, uniquely what we do is like, you know, it's the first thing everyone says is like skip or DoorDash, which is good. But we are kind of taking a unique stance where it's a mix between DoorDash and HelloFresh. So we join them in that, you know, with HelloFresh, you're getting a bulk order. Yeah. But with DoorDash, you're getting ready-to-eat meals. Yeah. So, for example, for a Nigerian dish, you would be getting in one order, you would get 5 different Nigerian dishes. Okay. That's ready for your fridge or for your freezer. So for me, like I started the business by like just recognizing that I didn't take the time to learn how to make Nigerian food for my mom. Yeah. And I was, you know, I live alone, and I'm just like, wow, like I miss having a goose soup, like just like coming home from school and like eating it up, just making pound yam and enjoying it. Oh, nice. Whereas now, like I have to like go buy it or something like that. So I was like, wow, like there has to be other cultures that kind of struggle with this or miss that aspect of home. Yeah. And so that's kind of what we do. So we just say, hey, like for the single mom who maybe has 3 kids and her husband lives in Nigeria, hey, take a break from cooking and order from us. You can have something to eat when you come back from work. You can have something to eat when they come back from school. And you're prolonging your culture and you're enjoying a delicious meal. So
I love that. That's really cool. So how does that element work? Is it essentially that with your partners, like with your the restaurants and everything like that you're teamed up with, that they then offer both sort of ready to go kind of more takeout dishes, but at the same time they also offer sort of ready to make like HelloFresh style, or how does that work?
Yeah, so on our platform, everything is pre-made. Okay. So there's no extra prep involved or anything like that. Perfect. So the chefs, what we set a standard is that we are selling meal kits. Nice. So we want it to be like, for example, like there's people who sell, like if you're getting a big bowl of soup where it's in like a big container, you have to defrost the whole thing, take out what you want, and then refreeze it. Whereas we're saying, hey, portion the dishes like you would and just have it ready for the fridge. So on our platform, we even tell our vendors no styrofoam containers. We've partnered with a company called Earthware, where you can even like, it's a takeout container, but not takeout, it's like Tupperware, but you can take it to the bottle depot and recycle it.
Nice.
So it kind of prompts people to take that fruit from our containers to their Tupperware, have it in your fridge, in your freezer, and that dish is still something that's familiar to you. So like there's no, because like ethnic food, like we all know, takes a ton of time to prepare. Like it's not something you can just like whip up in the kitchen like for an hour. Like for stew, it takes like 3 hours.
You're boiling, simmering that for all day.
You're boiling meat, like, you know, all these different steps. We want to just take out all the stress. You're in the Western world, but there is someone here that can make it. Like I'm from Delta. So one of my traditional dishes is owo soup with starch, and a lot of people aren't familiar with that. But it's a Nigerian dish, it's not as popular, but there's someone here that can make it. And they deliver it. And even I don't know how to make starch. You know what? I'm learning this year. I said that last year, but I'm learning this year. But just like that aspect of, even though we live here, we can't just be detached from our culture. Like there's somebody here that can make it, that can prolong it.
Yes. I resonate so much with what you said about just being like, I never took the time to learn how to make these things. And I mean, for me, I'm like second generation immigrant, so I grew up here, and it's one of those things that like, the older I get, the more I'm just kind of like, I'm like, I wish I knew how to make these dishes. I wish I, you know, and so this idea that you can still kind of like interact with the dish. It's not just that like I'm going to a restaurant, I think I'm eating this, but you can still have some of that prep in there, and it kind of feels still like yours. But at the same time, it's like, it's there, it's ready to go. I can have this within like a few minutes or whatever. I'm just like, oh, I love that so much.
And something that actually piqued my interest is how much of the traditional food that you know about, and it seems like you enjoy and you eat the traditional food a lot. And I'm just wondering, like, tell me about, like, let's take you back in time. Tell me about yourself, like, growing up. Were you born here? And
no, so I was born in Nigeria. And funny enough, our story is kind of interesting where we came here on vacation. I don't think my parents told me, but we were in Toronto, go to the Canada's Wonderland or whatever. My mom was like, oh, I want to go to Calgary. Like, okay, so we came here and then we stayed.
Wait,
interesting.
I'm telling you, when I tell you that, I remember being a kid and our parents were like, we're in a hotel, we've been here 3 weeks. Like, okay.
What's going on?
They're like, so we're staying. We're like, I beg your pardon? What about my friends? What about my clothes? I
didn't even get a chance to say bye.
No, wait. But how old are you at this point?
I'm 23.
Okay, sorry. No, when you moved. Yeah,
I was 9. I was 9.
Oh, that's so old. So nice. Like you were like 2.
Yeah, I was like, yo. I was
what's
like,
going on?
You know, I was because like
this is crazy.
When I was because it was funny because that summer like there was rumors, like I would joke about it because like we had some family that came here. And I was like, oh guys, we're gonna go to Canada, and I was like, you know, kind of flex it because you know when you're in Nigeria, like traveling abroad is like
it's a big flex.
It's a you know, when you're younger, like So then I was like, yeah, I'm going to Canada, and mom said it. I was like, wait. Y'all want to play it? Okay then.
Okay, so I'm imagining that was their plan all along, yeah?
Oh, yeah. You know,
so they were probably all packed up and like they'd probably like.
But I didn't get I didn't even bring my favorite like books.
That's heartbreaking.
Whatever, but anyway,
it was intentional. Excess luggage.
Obviously, got different plans, but
Oh my god.
So I lived here 9 years, elementary, junior high school, and then I got a soccer scholarship to play in the States.
Oh, nice.
So I went to play down there, Division I. Then came back here, got a corporate job. It was crazy how I got that job. Very grateful for it. It was
so how long were you playing soccer?
Like in the States or just in general?
In the States.
4 years.
4 years. Okay.
Yeah, so I got a full ride. So I was very, very blessed. Where I didn't pay for tuition, books. They gave me rent money, grocery money. Yeah, I was very blessed.
Where did you go?
North Dakota State.
Cool.
Yeah, North Dakota State. So I came back here, got a corporate job. And it was a full-time position, so I really, something that I could work the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But then it reached a point where I was like, okay, like, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want my lifestyle to be dependent on this paycheck. Like I want to do something else. And I was working at the Dome at the time, and at the Saddle Dome, and I was like, I want a different side hustle. And then that's how God kind of gave me this idea. Like as a Christian, like if I were to tell you the craziness of how this business has become, it's all from faith and from God. Like it's just so hard to put into words. Like when I talk about it, I have this belief that when you share your testimony, it can really, push things and like help other people.
Yeah, of course.
When I had that thought of I want to do something different.
Yeah.
So they told me to call my dad. And my dad is someone who's always so vague about making money. It's so easy to make money. Like people do it all the time. Like you could do this, but he's so vague. Never gives like specifics. And I was like, you know what? Got on the phone with him and he gave me a spiel. And then I got the phone. And I was like, I had an idea. And I was like, okay, call my friend. And he was like, okay, like this is what I think. And he was like, he didn't understand it at first, but I had this feeling that, this really could be something. Like, so I went to God in prayer because I don't know how to run a business. I don't know what, like, anybody says, like, to become an entrepreneur, you just got to come up with something, like, everything's already invented.
Yeah.
Like, like, this is so, like, so I'm like, you know what, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know who to call. Like, so I just went to him as in a place of just, I don't know what I'm doing, but I believe that this is coming that can be big. Like, let's do it. And I'm here for it. And after that, like a couple of days later, like I'm at work and I get an idea. I'm walking home from work. I get another idea. Like I'm sitting with friends. I'm like, wow, I'm just like, it's coming like this.
Yeah.
I know who to reach out to. And when they reach out to me, it's positive. Like I'm getting partnerships. I'm getting things. And like, it was just clicking. And eventually, it became like a passion of mine where every moment that I was able to kind of denote to it, like researching, looking into things, it was fun. Like it was something like, I was like, wow, this could become something. And unfortunately, it came to a point where it was affecting my job because I was getting distracted. And they put me on suspension and I eventually lost my job.
Okay, that's hard.
I
really,
eventually
really
lost my job. And at the moment, it was heartbreaking because it was a job where it made my parents proud. I was living by myself. I could support my family if I needed to. Like, it was just like, I was like, wow. Like, I was just mourning the lifestyle that I had. Yeah. And, I went to church that day. And I was just like, you know what, guys, like, this is how I'm feeling. They prayed over me. But after that, I was like, you know what? Like, I had my own plan of, when the Brdge takes off, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then I'll just leave this job. But obviously, I was like, you know what? God has different plans. So let's just go with it. And I'm telling you, there was no better time to have lost that job. Like, no better time. Like, when I was on suspension, this is the craziest story. You guys are going to lose your mind. Let me drink some water for this one.
Yeah, take a minute. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm ready.
So I was on suspension, and I'm part of this incubator called Platform Calgary where they get you and whatever. And they sent me an email that morning saying, there's a Black association meeting or whatever for Black businesses. And I was like, I'm not doing anything anyways. Like, I don't have a job, so I'm not going to work right now. I'm suspension, whatever. I'll go. So in that day, I was running some errands, and like I was really hungry. I didn't want to buy any food, and I was like, okay, well let me just wait. Somebody just told me just wait. It's all good. Just wait. I don't want to spend money anyways. And so I head in there, and I'm the only one that showed up.
Oh, okay.
And taking this, at that meeting for that organization, the CEO was there, the treasurer was there, the CMO was there, the Calgary rep was there, the rep from the Africa Center was there, and they were all seated just to hear me talk.
Perfect. They're like, how can we help you?
And the crazy thing is, when they have these meetings, they have it like once in a while, and they invite businesses, and they invited people to come, right? Like, everyone RSVP'd or whatever, they just didn't show up, and they offer like one service to each of these businesses, whether it's like HR, accounting, marketing, whatever you may need, for free. They get to pick one, right? They offered me 3.
Wow, because it was just you, right?
They're probably like, well, take it off. Showing up.
They offered me 3, and I was in disbelief because like that morning I was like, like I'll go. If I was still working, I wouldn't have been able to see it. I wouldn't have even gone. And
what services did they offer you?
So like I could pick. I literally could pick whatever I wanted. I picked awesome. I picked like accounting, marketing, HR were the 3 I think I picked. And even that day they ordered in Jamaican food.
Love that.
And let me take it home.
Of course. Like good food for the week.
Like really what I'm saying, like it's just like something like that was just, I remember leaving feeling like, wow, like I'm actually not by myself in this. Like let's go, let's do it. And you know, even during that time I took a little bit of a vacation because I didn't want to be in my apartment and be reminded of like all the people I'd let down, like the job and whatever. But it gave me a great moment to kind of sow seeds into people that could help me with the Brdge long term.
Yeah.
Like talking to event planners. We also offer on the Brdge, we offer catering, private chef services.
Nice.
Okay.
So like even talking to event planners and taking classes. But eventually I got to a point when I was coming back home where, you know, the funds were getting low and it's like, okay, I need a job. I need a job, like, you know, something needs to fund this business. Like, it can't just fund it by ambition.
Yeah.
And so I get back and I applied to a job while I was still in my other job because, like, I had a feeling something was going to go off. So I just threw it in there just in case.
Yeah.
I had a couple of interviews and there was a guy after me that was so much older and dressed better than I was. And I was like, you know what, whatever. Forget that job, whatever. Just kept moving. I was like, you know what? I wasn't even stressed because I was like, crazier things have happened to me. So
yeah, it'll work out.
It'll work out. It'll be fine. And I get a call from this company, and they offered me a 12-month contract where I was going to be paid way more than that other job.
Wow.
And it gave me more time to work on the business.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Love
Like,
it. Love it.
That's what I'm telling you. Like this everything that has happened. We launched the Brdge in March 1st.
Of what year?
This past March?
We launched the Brdge March 1st.
Wow.
2023?
2023.
Oh, wow.
Insane.
Interesting.
This idea came in early November last year.
Okay.
And this is where we're at.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Amazing. I have so many questions. So many questions. And
I'm telling you.
they're not, they don't flow. So I'm trying to figure out where to start because on one hand, I'm very interested in your journey. Like if you always plan to come back to Calgary, I mean, you were living in the States, you were playing soccer. What in your mind was going to be your next step? Because you said you came back, you had this corporate job.
I didn't have a plan.
Were you kind of thinking like, I'll come back, I'll get a corporate job? Like where was your head at?
No, like actually at that time I wanted to go to law school.
Okay.
I took the LSAT and I applied. I was waiting to hear back.
Yeah.
And then it was how I got the job was literally like a family friend knew of somebody at CN who was like, oh, like, you know, like this would be a good opportunity, like maybe apply.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, why not? Like while I'm like waiting to hear back from law school.
Yeah.
And that's how I got the job.
That's just how you got there.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. The other piece is why this idea?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Like,
how did this come out?
Like I said, it came from I don't know how to make Nigeria. I'm just gonna be candid. I can make stew. I can make stew. I can make jollof rice. Okay, I can do it.
That's very interesting.
That's easy, you know. I can do that.
Yeah, that's all you need.
But you know, egusi soup, ogbono soup.
And you like them.
I love them. Like it's something like where like after a while you miss it. You know, like, even if you're eating all this Caucasian food after a while, like
and you're living alone, and you're kind of like, well, if I want
make
this.
I can make this, I can make that, but then you're like, you know what would hit right now? You know, like those moments. So I was like, wow, like so my aunt would actually make me food and like keep it in my fridge in my freezer. So I was like, oh wow, like what a treat.
Yeah.
Right? So then I was like, what if there's a service that did this where you could even get it every week? Like I even expanded. Like it started like that, but then just blossomed into let's get this into elementary schools. Let's get this into meal plans at universities. Yeah. Like we can go to corporate offices. Like everyone's talking about diversity and inclusion. Like it just started to blossom. And next month, I'm actually meeting with this business organization that does school lunches for elementary and junior high schools.
Yeah,
so we're hoping to get some jollof rice, chicken in there, some other cultures, so people feel like wow, like you know, like I'm in a new country, but someone actually cares about my culture, right? And even like corporations where, you know, everyone's trying to do this like back to work thing. Like, hey, every week we'll have different cuisines. You know, we'll have Jamaican this week, things like that, where you're acknowledging the difference in culture in your workspace. It makes you like, I feel like for companies to do that, it makes you feel like, wow, like they really took the time to learn about me, and that loyalty only grows, right? So it's little things like that, and it's just blossoming and becoming.
My company does weekly DoorDash lunches, and I'm like, I'm gonna be like, can we swap this out for the
That's really good. One thing that is really like I'm still trying to wrap my head around is you moved here. You were older, of course. But at the same time, you were still a kid. And you've had so many years ahead of you. So, like, I'm just kind of surprised and wondering, how were you able to still stay in touch and still want to be associated with that part of you? Because some people just want to excuse themselves from it just because they're trying to survive and absorb into the system and the place where we are. But then you still held that part of you very close to your chest. So what is the reason why, and like how did that come about?
I think that's a good question. I think especially when you grow up here, like I went to school in a predominantly white school where I was, even for pictures, I'd like pull back like my lips so they looked smaller. Like I was, they were like,
your lips are really small, like, though.
Yeah, I mean, to me, but in that environment, it felt like they were big. You know, things like that where it was just like, you know, I wanted to hide it, but as I got older and went to a predominantly black high school, I started to see like, okay, there's other people who are familiar with some of the references that I make to my culture. And even at the time, like Afrobeats was beginning to pick up, so I started to feel a bit more comfortable like talking about, oh, like I like this artist, and even I would have my friends come to my home and like my mom would make jollof rice for them and they would love it. Like for my birthday, my mom would make puff puff and they would love it. So as I went to university, like North Dakota is a like 90% Caucasian society, but I felt it important that even though I'm in this area, like I don't want to get lost in their culture, and I wanted to introduce you know, that part of myself to this new environment, because if I didn't do that, I would get lost. Like there was only one other black girl on my team that was also Nigerian that I could really share that with. But like if I don't communicate that, if I don't express it, it's not going to be able, it's going to get lost, it's going to get hidden. But I was lucky enough, like, you know, I have, you know, I've built a great community of Nigerian friends here as well, where, you know, I can talk to them about things. We can go to Afrobeats parties and little things like that, where I don't feel like I'm alone in these cravings for food, for little things like that. My mom, you know, always, you know, we grew up, my mom was the only one, she grew up like a single mom with 3 kids, where she had to maintain our culture through food and take care of us. So like she always made it adamant to introduce those dishes, and always have those dishes in the back of our minds as well. So yeah, even when I went to university, I know how to make stew, so I made stew there, and you know, they'd be like, oh, it's so spicy, like oh, the whole house smells like pepe, like okay. And
that's cool.
You mentioned, you talked about your mom, and you talked about how that influenced where you are and the Brdge. How can you talk a little bit about that, and like, how your mom and watching your mom and your experience with your mom has kind of influenced your journey? Yeah,
so I mean, my mom is incredibly hardworking. Like, she tells a story from when she was younger to even now. She has a spa in Windsor. Like, she is like a serial entrepreneur minded. But just kind of seeing her coming from an environment where she lived in Nigeria for 40 years, and you come into this new environment where you're the only one, and there's different cultural things that you have to adjust to, especially when you're like on a sports team and there's other sports parents, like talking with them, coordinating with them, you know, like, you know, so even as I reflect now, like I can only imagine like how many nights she spent just like in awe of like, wow, this is a lot of work. And still feeling like, okay, no, like I think I'm investing in my kids, I'm investing in their future, it'll all pay off, right? And I think when I think about the Brdge, I just think about how much stress and labor and time it would have taken off of her to be provided this service, where she comes back from work and she has something to eat that she's familiar with, she looks forward to, and there's even some dishes that my mom doesn't know how to make, and you know, she misses it as well, where she would have loved for it to be in our home, but we don't eat it, so we wouldn't like it. So like, why would she make this big dish, spend all this money to go make it, and we wouldn't enjoy it? So so like that type of thing where it's like, okay, you can kind of appeal to everybody's favorites, and still you know, maintain your culture, enjoy the food, and save time. Yeah. So I can only imagine for like, I know there are a lot of moms out there, especially in the Nigerian community, where the moms stay here and the dads live in Nigeria. And I can only imagine, like, after a while, you want a break. Like, making that food all the time takes a lot of work. And I know there's a lot of people that are already doing it, where they want to order afang from this person or whatever. But to a position where you can have it portioned in the manner that we do it, I think can really take the stress off and the weight off, and, you know, the excitement of knowing that, hey, like, you know, someone out here thought about this for me.
You can listen to the rest of this conversation by searching The Diary of a Naija Immigrant on cgsw.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Diary of a Naija Immigrant is presented by Afros in the City in collaboration with Through Onyi's Lens.
You can keep up with us on Instagram by following Afros in the City, following Through Onyi's Lens, and of course, following Diary of a Naija Immigrant. Once you've done all that, just keep listening. Rate us, review us, love us, root for us. Until next time.